Welcome to Mr. V Teaching Math. In this session, we're going to look at the volume of a rectangular prism. First of all, what is a prism? A prism is a shape in which each of the sides is a rectangle and the base is the same. In this case, it's pretty obvious. I can hold it any way and you can see that it's all rectangles. This one also has the same thing. It doesn't matter which way I hold it. Something like this, however, there are rectangles all the way around the outside, and the ends are the same. This is also a prism. A different type we'll learn about a little bit later. What makes these rectangular? The bottoms are rectangular. Although what is the bottom exactly, the base? Well, it all depends on which way you hold it. So, if I hold it one way, the base is in one position. And we can work with that in any direction. Now, how in the world do we find its volume? All volume formulas have a fairly easy way of remembering the formula. So keep this in mind. The base, the area of the base times its height. The area of the base times its height is the volume of this object. Now, what does that mean? Well, the base of this one, in this case, we're going to say, well, it's a rectangle. What's the area of a rectangle? Length times width. Times that by its height. And you have the volume formula. Volume is equal to length times width. In the work that we're going to be doing in our classroom, there's going to be a number of different drawings that they're going to use. Here's one drawing, and this represents this sort of shape. A cube. You can see that all the sides are the same length, much like this one. It is sometimes a challenge for students to be able to turn this kind of drawing and imagine it in a shape like this. And that can be quite difficult. It's a skill that takes some practice. So there's one example. That's something that looks like a cube. Here we have another object, one like this, in which we have 8, 8, and 10. I'll see if I can try to hold it in the same angle. My camera isn't quite big enough here. It's sort of sitting like this in that drawing. And often you'll also see drawings that will look something like this, which would represent an object sort of like this if I try to hold it at the same angle. About like that. This is the 11.5, there's the 3, and there's the 6 back here. How then do I calculate this kind of work? Well, I take the length, the width, and the height, and I plug them in. Now, which one of these is length, width, and height? Well, that all depends on which way you hold the object. You can actually turn it any way you want. So I'm not going to be picky about what you plug in where in this case. And then, of course, this is all multiplication, so I simply have to multiply. And it gives me the answer, 172.5, and these are centimeters, cubed. And that's the correct units for volume. Volume units in centimeters, meters, and so on will be cubed. And that is how to calculate the volume of a rectangular prism.